Namaste. God bless all of you. Mr. Fiddle here. I'm always fiddling with stuff, man. OCD or whatever acronym you want to call it. But happy Sunday to you. It's interesting. National Days of today, man. I can relate to one of them, but National Beer Day. National Drinking Beer Day for all you alcoholic beverage lovers out there. I was never a beer guy. I was always just give me a black coffee with sugar. I'm happy. Maybe I'm boring, can I tell you? But this is my favorite, National Strawberry Cream Pie Day. That is, give me a plate of that, or not the plate, the pie, man. Cup of coffee, I'm good to go. And National Good Neighbor Day. People always say you don't really see people doing that anymore. You don't see people really talking to neighbors. I don't really see my neighbors here. That's because of the internet. You can blame social media for that. We all have a couple thousand neighbors now, which is, our friends on social media. But this came to my attention yesterday, and it's always intrigued me how we have this amazing power. And I've said it 1,000 times here on America's Mentor, but it's understanding how to use it and why things are happening in life. That's what really jacks me. This is what really gets my blood going, because we all want to be in control, but we feel like life is controlling us. It's not that life is controlling us, we've allowed life to control us. And when we take that power back, we really enable the forces out there and the tools that we already have within us to really construct the most amazing outcomes in life. And this came yesterday. I got an associate at work, really professional guy, same age as me. He got the same friggin' haircut too. He's awesome. Very quiet, placid guy. But this guy was dropping shit all over the place yesterday. And I asked him, I said, why are you frustrated? He goes, how'd you know? I said, I don't have to know, but this is happening in my life. I said, just remember these words. And they literally just popped in my head, and I use them out of the quote box. Today's thoughts are tomorrow's outcome. He kind of looked at me. He's already white. He got whiter. I said, don't worry about it. I said, whatever going on, take a step back. I know the feeling. I've done that. But I learned a couple important words over the weekend. As I was doing my work, I jacked in the books. You know me, Mr. Intellect, 101 over here, or trying to be. I love gathering this stuff. It just, and sharing it with you guys, because one little word can change an outcome in life, because you'll start understanding yourself better and why things are happening. Remember these words. Thought to matter pipeline. What the hell am I thinking about? Thought to matter pipeline. Imagine your thoughts in this emotional pipeline every day, and what you're putting in the pipeline is constantly flowing, and it's reaching other outlets in this construct of life. And then you realize why things are happening. Esther Hicks had a great reel about that, and then I'm going to go into the movie Superhuman with Caroline Corey, which I just had a chance not to see the movie, but to see an interview about the movie and what she's talking about. And these components here will help you understand why things are happening and why you're not so-called attaining what's going on in your life. And these things that I learn every day. It's a modification of our thought process that brings to us the best results that we want. But Esther Hicks, I'll start with her. She gives a great point on money and success. And I don't think I've read this one before, but when it caught my eye, I want to read it to you. It's very short. If you're not a vibrational match to what you're asking for, you can't let it in. You don't allow it. How many of you have thought about something that you really want? You thought about it, it just doesn't happen. Point being is, subconsciously, you're not allowing it in. Think about that for a second there. You must be a vibrational match to your desire. Here's an example that she put out there. Like I said, I was talking about money. You can't feel the need for money and the discomfort of lack of money. Really think about it. If you guys saw the movie Animal House, a lot of us in the upper echelon of age remember the movie. There was a devil and then there was an angel. And if you guys remember the movie, you remember what was going on there. You had one telling him to do one thing and one telling him to do another. This is the emotional battle that we go through every day from our past experiences. Yeah, we want money. We want wealth. Who doesn't want wealth and the freedom of wealth? But deep down inside, we're thinking about, I don't deserve it. I never had wealth anyway. Money doesn't like. These are the thoughts that go into that so-called emotional pipeline that, in essence, are remembered. Remember that word, remember. The cells are absorbing everything that you think and feel every day. I'll show you in that part over there. But I'll finish reading what she said. You can't feel the need for money, which I already read, and the discomfort of lack of money, and let money in. You can't have that contradiction in your life. You'll have fits and starts of getting some, losing some, getting some. My point with America's Mentor is keeping that line stable. Is keeping that pipeline flowing of positive energy and emotion and thoughts, goals, dreams, desires. Feeding that pipeline every day, because it does go to a point. And she goes on to say, if you feel poor, you can't become prosperous. I mean, that was my problem in the 12 by 12. I wanted to be prosperous, but I felt poor all the time. Really, I mean, you're sitting there, you're living on a box of cake donuts for 2 days as your food. It's very hard to think prosperous with that in front of you. This is where mind control comes in. And what I kept doing for years was feeding that pipeline of poverty, and I kept getting more of that. Not necessarily in a monetary sense, but my life in general. It showed, I mean, life is a reflection. And you guys know this. Life is a reflection of your thoughts. What's going on around you is just a reflection of it. And when I realized what I was reflecting, I had to look in the mirror a different way. Instead of frowning, I started to smile. Instead of allowing the little things to bother me, I said, wait, there's always tomorrow. You've got to get that kind of mindset and that fortitude in your life to really amplify your thoughts and to reassure yourself that indeed good things are here. I have to recognize them. It's how I'm seeing them. If you feel poor, you can't become prosperous, even though you're asking for prosperity. More than 99% of every creation, I think 100% mind you, of creation is completed vibrationally. Before you see any physical evidence, you can't use the physical evidence to know you have it. You can't use the physical evidence. You have to think about it in your conscious mind. And with that kind of reflection, with that kind of understanding, you say, wait, there are no obstacles except for the meatball. I'm looking at myself right now in the mirror. I am the obstacle. And a few people will acknowledge that. A lot of people are in that victim mentality, which is a trained mentality, mind you. When you start getting into a prosperous mentality, well, life changes for the better in every way. And she ends by pay attention by the way you're feeling. To me, you from a spiritual sense about life, yes, we all can be optimistic. we really can. But the problem is what has been programmed in our subconscious. That's the biggest pain in the ass. And I could say that respectfully. Because from in your subconscious mind, your five senses kick in, and you got to realize it's not just your subconscious. Your body has been actually programmed now. And I'm going to get into that with Superhuman by Caroline Corey. That was a life changer for me, because you got to realize every thought creates the feelings, the emotions, and it comes out to us through our chemistry and our physical outcomes in life. It doesn't just go through that pipeline, it gets stored in that pipeline. That was the revelation that I learned, and it really jacked me to realize, wait, how do I change what's going into the pipeline? It starts with thought. How do I change what's going on in my body with what keeps occurring and reoccurring? It starts with thought. And when you start feeding that thoughts in there, in that pipeline, the emotional pipeline, with a better outlook on life, even for the most trivial things, you keep focusing on the better part of life into that pipeline, it goes through it and eventually comes out through your life in general. Think about that for yourself. But Superhuman, Caroline Corey, you can do a search on this lady. She did a great interview on a couple networks. And I mentioned her. I mentioned these words many times in America's Mentor, but I love bringing them in different forms because everyone is unique. And if you guys choose whatever one suits you and follow through on that, there's no certain way of doing things to get what you want. It's doing it your way, your best way, the best way that makes you feel. In her movie Superhuman, she starts off with intention, and there's a whole host of different stars, actresses, and it was land-based by Google, man. Oh, you don't have a scientist on there? Bullshit. Doesn't matter. It doesn't. You're using people's experiences to create something that can potentially help other people. Doesn't matter if you got an acronym in the beginning or the back of your name. It's you sharing information like I'm doing with America's Mentor. I don't need an acronym. All I need is knowledge. I want to push that knowledge because it worked for me onto you guys. So don't take the lambasting and the critics, the keyboard critics out there, who just because they think you need some accolade on a wall. No, please. You're going to limit yourself. Be open to understanding and learning. Be open to understanding other people's opinions and values, because they might relate to what you're going through, and from there can be your epiphany to move forward in life. She starts off with intention. I'm going to define it for you. A plan to achieve a particular outcome or act in a specific way. This is what we do today. It's called habits. You change your habits, you change your life. And because habits are the construct of your subconscious thinking. And when you keep going through that every day and start expunging certain ones that don't fit your criteria, you're going to naturally rewire your brain. You're naturally going to rewire your thoughts. You're going to create new neural pathways in there to create a better outcome in your life. Her main focus of this program was a clear intention. Maintain that intention. Ask yourself the question, what is your intention, your objective, your goal, whatever it might be? You ask yourself that question. And then, in other words, maintain that intention. You go from understanding your intention to maintaining it. Then identify the intention. This is what I do at journaling every day. My goals and my passions every day, I identify in my writings every day, and I clarify. I create stories behind it. I get really involved with it. This is what she's talking about. Identify the contradictions. This is where people with the victim mentality really get stumped, because nothing's wrong with me. I'm totally fine. No, meatball, if your life sucks, you gotta think about what's going on under the hood. Your subconscious mind, the storehouse of the mind, is constantly flowing into that emotional pipeline. And from there, this is what, as Esther Hicks said about money. Yeah, I want money, but I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy of it. What's that? Your past experiences kicking up on you. Your body and your mind have encumbered all your past experiences, and now basically you're a vibrational match to everything except for what you truly want in life. This is where you start. This is where transformation really kicks in. When you start understanding who's controlling the ship. Is it your conscious mind or your subconscious mind? Your subconscious mind is 90%. That's the devil and the angel that you're fighting with every single day. And when you get a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you can't help but to manifest that, whether it's good and or bad for your life. So find out what your anchors are, find out what's going on under the hood, and then you can start clearing them. The question is, how do you clear them? With an intention of life that you're only going to be the best you. An intention of life that I'm only going to shoot for my goals in life. I'm not going to worry about what people think. The intention is being that best self every day, no matter what happens, and keeping a good vibration, a good aura around me. That's what I'm talking about. It's these kind of revelations in life that'll really change things for you. It did for me. But you have to clean the closet, man. You have to really clean the closet. Subconscious blocks, I mean, to me, are the biggest pain in the ass, because that's the past just kind of floating up saying, hey, remember me? I was the one that held you back, and I still want to do it. But remember this word that goes into the emotional pipeline. This is what really got me. Cellular memory. Cellular memory. Now, let me just give you guys an example. How many cells we have in our body. And they have a memory, mind you. 36 trillion of them. 36 trillion cells in our body that remember everything about us. And it reminds the new cells that are being created, this is who Jerry is. Remember to follow that pattern. It's all full of shit. In other words, it's full of stuff that should not be there. It's getting reacted by our five senses. This is what I mean by clearing the storehouse. Because you keep implanting new thoughts, new feelings about the new life you want. This is where you change the memory. Because your cells are just going on where you've been, not where you're going. You have to get in touch with where you're going more than where you've been. It may sound confusing, it may sound daunting, but with the mind of a clear intention, you're only implanting in that emotional pipeline new thoughts, new feelings, new desires, new intentions, new vibration. And the cells are going to react to that. And cellular memory, I'll give this to you guys and I'll let you enjoy your Sunday, because it's really important to understand thoughts are just not some abstract thing. It starts the process to go in the emotional pipeline to create those constant thoughts. I'm not saying, frivolous thoughts here and there. I'm saying your constant mood. Remember I mentioned in the beginning about frustration, how my guy was thinking about all these frustrating things going on in his life, never said anything, but yet more frustrating things are happening. This is what I'm talking about. It's a powerful force to understand what you're thinking about. It's a powerful understanding to realize that if things are happening in your life, it's not life that's a problem, it's what's coming out of your mouth, out of your thoughts, out of your feelings on a constant basis all the time. Not some random thoughts here and there or fantasies. It's a maintaining the thought of the intention that you want will bring that intention and better things in life. But if you're doing it in a bad sense about how bad your life is, you're only going to re-manifest that, because your cells and your emotions, your vibrations, everything's remembering what's going on in your present moment. And it's storing that. So remember that. So when you really want to get aggravated or pissed off about somebody who hurt you 20 years ago, remember where it's going. And most importantly, try to remember to let it go the best way you can. Forgiveness is key. Gratitude is key. I mean, there's so many variables involved with this. It may sound daunting to some people, but to me, it's interesting as hell. I just want to keep sharing. That's why I keep sharing this stuff with you guys. I want you guys to understand that when you understand how you're working, how your mind works, that's when life gets a lot more fun. I'll define this and I'll let you guys go. Cellular memory. The memory influences and responds to past experiences and can even prepare cells for future conditions. Guys, this is just a quick synopsis of the amazing power that we have. And proudly brought to you by Caroline Corey in the movie Superhuman. Check it out if you want. This just gives you the tip of the iceberg to help you understand that we are superhuman, man. We have so many abilities. We have the ability to cure disease without a pill. We have the ability to create our amazing dreams out of thin air. But it's understanding how the mind works. It's understanding that it's not just some random thoughts. It's a complex system that goes into an emotional pipeline that grows and expands if you keep thinking about it. So my challenge to you guys today, guys, what are you thinking about? Because from that starting point is what you're creating in the next step of your life. So guys, America's Mentor, I hope to so. America's Mentor _radio, Instagram, at America's Mentor on X, that porn and politics thing that I keep sharing stuff on, which I don't understand why. But please join me on YouTube, guys. Almost 1,000 videos on YouTube. Hashtag America's Mentor on YouTube. Happy Sunday to you guys. In National Drink a Beer Day. Enjoy a beer. I'm going to have some strawberry cream pie. Enjoy your Sunday. I'll talk to you soon, man.